Yo, it's your boy, Orion, one half of the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Back at you with a new video. We got the 49ers or Chiefs. Who has the better position groups going into Super Bowl 54? We got a basketball game here, obviously with the Kobe Bryant news. Miami Heat about to hop on the TV on TNT here in just a little bit. I've been incredibly sick for the last probably about 2.5 days. Right around that Royal Rumble period. I really wish that I could have finished off the Royal Rumble live stream. I got a fever right now. I've been in bedridden pretty much for the last couple days. But I wanted to hop on because I'm the hardest working YouTuber on planet Earth. I'm grinding all the time. So I wanted to make sure I at least said hello and, came on for a live stream, obviously during this basketball game, and kind of discuss a little bit with the 49ers and Chiefs. And a discussion something that we should go over. Eric Schultz, he's first. Mark Marone, Rip Kobe. Amber, what it do? Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm not sure how many people will be hopping on. I was going to do this stream around 7 o'clock Pacific time, but then I was thinking then that it would be maybe around 10 o'clock Eastern. So I'm really struggling right now to talk. I'm really struggling right now to kind of keep things together. But since I didn't record yesterday, I wanted to do this video yesterday. So I just wanted to kind of have an open discussion with y'all, the fans, and what you guys think, regardless if you're a Chiefs fan or you're a Niner fan or you're biased or you're not. When we break down the position groups, and obviously, the obvious one, quarterback, we already know Patrick Mahomes is better than Jimmy G, the Garoppolo effect, Jimmy Garoppolo. But what about the other positions, leading into the Super Bowl? It sounds like, from what I've watched on NFL Network, everyone is pretty healthy for the most part for both teams. Shady McCoy, obviously we know he was a little bit banged up. We know Coleman for the Niners, the running back, was a little bit banged up. Obviously we have a lot of this, Kobe Bryant, news that still is, really weighing on a lot of people, regardless if you're black, you're white, you're Caucasian, you're Mexican, you're Asian, you're Russian, you're Chinese, whatever race that you are. Obviously with the Kobe and all of his, his daughter and all the other people that passed in the helicopter crash, the other 7. One thing, that it is starting to kind of show me, though, it is starting to kind of bring people together. There's, Democrats, there's Republicans, the United States is divided, a lot of racism that's kind of going on. And I don't talk politics on the channel at all. But one thing I will say is that it's really nice to be able to see people kind of come together, and it shouldn't necessarily have to be just for a celebrity, and one of the best basketball players to ever, live on planet Earth, obviously with his daughter, but the other 7 are just as important. But one thing it is showing me that, it doesn't matter if you're a bricklayer, you're a scholar, you're a garbage man, you're a teacher, whatever your profession is, you're a YouTuber, you're someone that works at Chick-fil-A. It's something that we can all kind of reflect together. You can either mourn or move on. And obviously some people have some different ideas of what they think about Kobe Bryant. That's fine, right? But like I said, it is kind of a sad time, but it is bringing people together, which I like. You know what I mean? And that's what this channel is all about, is bringing people together. Any type of race, any type of age. If you love sports, this is a place where you're welcome to come, and we can discuss it no matter what your favorite team is, even if it's the hated Dallas Cowboys or the hated New England Patriots. We can still have a discussion here. But let's go over some of the positions. So I am sick. I feel like shit. I won't lie. But, I want to try to hop on and just have this discussion with y'all, maybe for about 30 minutes to an hour. And then that way that we can, kind of discuss what we think. And Eric Schultz, he says, hey, man, get better soon. I've gotten that bug, too. I know it sucks, bro. But he says, who do you think is going to guard Tyreek Hill? But then after that, after Tyler's comment, he said Shanahan is the better coach. So let's start it off there. But before I get into that, 49ers or Chiefs, who has the better position groups going into Super Bowl 54? It's your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy on here or through patreon.com/NWSF. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch like I'm wearing right now, link is below every video on our YouTube page. And like I said, it doesn't matter if I got a 100, 101, 102, 103 degree temperature, I got a fever, I got a cold, I'm hacking up a lung. You guys mean everything to me, and I have to put in the grind. Did the Senior Bowl, did the Pro Bowl, tried to do all of the Royal Rumble, but then when the Becky Lynch-Asuka match came on, I just started getting really sick, and I didn't get a chance to finish that, but I watched it. I mean, I could have had the live stream, continuing to play, while I was in and out of my chair, but I didn't think that would be very fair, to some of the fans. But Matt Carter, Edge, yeah, was that amazing or what? I watched Monday Night Raw too, and obviously Edge, Charlotte won, the Women's Royal Rumble, and then we had Drew McIntyre win for the men's, which was awesome too. So some new blood, seeing someone new that deserves it. But let's go into the coaching. I want you guys to comment below, regardless if you're a Chiefs fan, obviously. Reed, do you feel confident in his play calling with Bieniemy and everyone that they have there, or do you feel it's the new blood in Kyle Shanahan? It's almost like two of the best of both worlds. You got the OG, triple OG, and Andy Reid. He's been there, he's done that, but he hasn't won the big one, right? But everyone, at least to me, I respect the hell out of him. I'm rooting for him. I know that if they don't win it this year, he will get one with Mahomes in the next 5 years, no doubt. I mean, this guy is a genius. Sometimes questionable play calling, sometimes questionable time of possession towards the end of game with timeouts, and being able to use the clock appropriately. We get it. That's why Eagles fans kind of have this, kind of chip where they're like, fuck Andy Reid, but they love him. But there's also this kind of fuck Andy Reid feeling to Eagles fans because he couldn't get him over the top with some of the questionable play calls, right? Some of the questionable maybe timeouts that were called or not called. Some, violations, false starts, and just the whole bag. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to comment below. Who do you think is the better coach today? Is it the new blood and the new breed, the genius, Kyle Shanahan, who's kind of like the new young blood going into the NFL moving forward, right? Or is it Andy Reid? Comment below. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think. Nathan, what it do, my guy? Sarah Small, what it do? So for me, going into this matchup, it's tough, you know what I mean? Just because I think both coaches are great. As far as being creative, to be able to come up with the play calling, I kind of give the edge to Kyle. I love Kyle Shanahan a lot. To me, out of all the coaches in the NFL, he's top 3. He's been top 3 for quite some time. They just didn't have the record to show it. But moving forward, even if they have an off year after the Super Bowl and they go back to earth like 8-8, it won't take too long for them to get back, to another NFC Championship game. I think that the Niners are built for long-term success. I like his creativity. Nothing against Andy Reid whatsoever. I love Andy Reid, but as far as just one coach versus the other, as far as play calling, and just the overall vibe that I get, I think I just give a little bit of an edge, to Kyle Shanahan. And obviously also, too, you can go on the flip side, like Nathan said. Well, Andy Reid, on the flip side, has more experience. Agreed. But also, too, Kyle Shanahan has a father, and Mike Shanahan, that has the experience as well. So that kind of evens out. Mike Shanahan, obviously, as we know, Denver Bronco champion, he knows what it takes, and he's learned a lot from his dad. So I think the Shanahan, kind of the tenure, the gene pool, it's not that big of a, one or the other. And you got to remember, Kyle Shanahan, he was the OC for Atlanta when they lost the 28-3, remember? When they were up 28-3 and the Patriots came back. So this is not new, to Kyle Shanahan, maybe at the head coaching position, right? But I feel that it's not really that much of a gap between the two. It's going to be very, very close. You know what I mean? But we'll have to see on how it goes, with Bieniemy and Andy Reid, and, if they end up, passing the ball 90% of the time, or if they go kind of unorthodox and actually run the damn ball, which I really hope that the Chiefs do, but that's the first position I wanted to go over, so I'm kind of getting some vibes from everyone here. So you got the Shanahan, you got Andy Reid. Now let's move on. Obviously, we know Patrick Mahomes is on a whole nother level than Jimmy Garoppolo, so that doesn't even need to be talked about. Patrick Mahomes, you could argue, is the best quarterback in the NFL today. You could argue he might end up being one of the best quarterbacks of all time when it's all said and done. So we can move on from there. The next position I want to go over, the running backs. All right, this gets a little tricky as we're starting to move to running back, wide receiver, O-line, D-line, linebackers, secondary, special teams, kicker, Really, I get it. If you're a Niner fan, you're going to be all about your team. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're going to be all about your team. But for someone like me that's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan that has no bias and just calls it right down the middle from what I see, and I know some of y'all aren't Niner or Chiefs fans, so you're just kind of doing it based off the eye test, based off the research, what you see. So if you end up looking at the running backs, comment below. Who would you guys rather have? Would you guys rather have Mostert, Breida, and if Coleman is healthy and he can go, those three? Right? Or would you rather go, right, with Damian Williams, his bro, the other Williams, Darrell, right, if Shady McCoy comes back, and kind of the stable of running backs that the Chiefs have? Who do you feel more comfortable with? Because the thing is that if you're just going it based off, let's say Mostert is going to get a majority of the carries, and you're going Mostert from what he did in the playoffs, I get where you might be a little one-sided. But Damian Williams ain't no slouch. And if you look at based off overall talent, you could argue Damian Williams is more talented than Mostert. Don't get me wrong, Mostert's a beast, and he runs over people, and he's amazing, right? And he ended up getting those 4 touchdowns and doing all the records, right? But if you actually just look at talent, overall, Damian Williams, when healthy, or Mostert, or Breida, it's kind of close. Sometimes I kind of lean a little bit more to Damian Williams, but the thing is that the O-line, to me, really the battle in the trenches is won in games, and that's really what makes Breida and Mostert better, right? Then typically Damian Williams is because of the O-line, right? The O-line opens up the holes more. Obviously, it makes it a little bit easier for Mostert and Breida to hit the holes, Coleman, to make those big plays. So that's just kind of how I feel. You know what I mean? Damian Williams might be the better talent slightly, just talent-wise, maybe just by an inch, right? But the O-line, as we shift to the next position, the offensive line, right? To me, the offensive line for the Niners is a little bit better than the Chiefs, and I think Chiefs fans would agree. It's been getting better, over time. It's been getting better like the defense has on the back end of the season, right? But, there's no denying the holes that the O-line opens up for the Niners. They're built on running the football, playing great defense, good special teams, good kicking game, right? And obviously a brilliant play caller in Kyle Shanahan, right? But the O-line, to me, there's a big advantage there for the San Francisco 49ers and what they bring to the O-line to the Chiefs. Nothing wrong with the Chiefs O-line, you know what I mean? There's just a few holes there, and they can come together for this Super Bowl and win, right? But obviously it's more about pass protecting rather than run blocking, and that's big facts because they don't really run the ball that much. But the thing is, if they did, I think it would literally open up the passing game even more, so that way they don't have to get down 10-0, 13-3, and they have to have this miraculous comeback by Mahomes, which we're probably going to see in the Super Bowl, in the second half. So offensive line, I got to give the nod to the Niners on that end. And then next up, this is interesting. I want you guys to comment below. Who's got the better wide receiving core? I know off the top, if you're a Chiefs fan, you'll say, duh, the Cheetah, right? Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, right? Shaboing Boing, McCole Hardman, and all the other pieces if you want to add the tight ends in there as well. But if you just want to go wide receiver core, you want to go for the speed, but they've had some drop issues, in the last few weeks, so it's a little concerning. Or do you go for someone like Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, and Bourne, where maybe the names aren't as big, right? But they love to block, and I think they're a little underrated. So, it's easy to say Chiefs, just based off the talent and the speed, right? But as far as catching the football and relying on them, right, not including Travis Kelce or George Kittle, just the wide receiving core, who's more reliable out of that wide receiver core, in the last month or so? So it's kind of tough. It's one of those things. One's a speed group, right? The other one is kind of based off Kyle Shanahan's trickery and the play calling. But I think that everyone that thinks that it's Chiefs by a long shot, I think you're in for a little run for your money. I think the Niners wide receiver core is a little bit better than people are kind of giving him credit for. Emmanuel Sanders, if you watch his career, from Pittsburgh to Denver, to here in the 49ers, he was a real key cog. He almost, to me, is like the Jay Ajayi piece, when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and they needed that extra piece to kind of get them over the hump to get to the NFC Championship, to get to the Super Bowl. That Emmanuel Sanders piece is kind of very similar based off impact. And I think Emmanuel Sanders is kind of underrated. He's the third down option, where you're going to be looking at him for that key first down. And Debo's been playing lights out for a rookie. I don't think really, people have been giving him the credit where credit is due, right? But also on the flip side, McCole Hardman, has been amazing, as a rookie at wide receiver and special teams. And then you guys got Cheetah, the fastest wide receiver, who's really elevated his game to be able to run any route, anytime, anywhere, and he's one of the biggest threats in the NFL, and that's why a lot of people are kind of leaning maybe towards the Chiefs, winning the Super Bowl with the Cheetah and Patrick Mahomes and what they're going to be able to accomplish with Travis Kelce. So, it's one of those things, is it going to be a running game where the Niners just impose their will and run, and play great defense, and then it's going to be up to maybe the special teams, Robbie Gould, or maybe it's going to end up being the kicker on the Chiefs. We have to see. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But I think Debo is underrated. I think McCole Hardman is underrated, right? And I think that overall, I mean, whatever way you want to go, I mean, it depends if you want speed or guys that are actually going to catch the football. You know, it's definitely debatable, but it's going to be an exciting matchup as we go forward into the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 54. I think for me, just for today, right now, I probably have to lean, towards the Chiefs for now, right? But I have a huge respect for Emmanuel Sanders and Debo and Bourne and everyone else they have on the roster, not including Kittle, right? Because the way that they love to block for the running backs, the way they like to block for each other, you're going to play harder for each other at that position group. And then, when you see those players doing that, and if you're the running back there, it's going to make you play harder too. So I really appreciate that. That's not something you typically see out of wide receiving core, that they really love and appreciate and have a joy in blocking for their teammates. It's very rare. So tight end position, comment below. This is going to be interesting. Who's the better tight end? Is it Travis Kelce, who's been kind of the number one tight end besides Gronk, in the last couple years? Or is it George Kittle? Who is the better tight end this season? That's very debatable too, because it's not almost like 1-2 rank. It's almost like 1A, 1B. I don't think, there's a big separation between the two. They both are great at blocking. They both got great hands. They both can be an X factor in the game. They both can score 2 or 3 touchdowns receiving in the game. They both can decleat you and pancake the shit out of you, for a touchdown for someone else. They have everything that you would want at a tight end position. They're both faster than the average tight end, so it's going to be interesting to see if these guys are going to be involved, because some games they go really heavy with Kittle, right, and Kelce. We've seen that. But in other games, they'll get like one grab, right, and like 5 yards, but they still have an impact where they're on the field. So it's going to be very interesting to see maybe who has the better game or who technically is better. You know what I mean? I like both tight ends a lot. I mean, these are the 2 best tight ends in the league. Who's going to have the better game? It's tough to say, with all the weapons that are out there. But I guarantee both of them are going to have more than a couple grabs in the Super Bowl. They're definitely going to get utilized. And they're horses, man. When they get the football in their hands, they love to run over everyone. And they can, run over, stiff arm you, go for 50 and score. So Nathan says, I think one of them will get shut down. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see the matchups. And then as we flip over, to the defense, right? This can be one of those things where we can go D-line, right? So obviously for me, right off the gates, I respect Chris Jones. Who? Chris Jones. Frank Clark. You're getting some of the other pieces back healthy. But when you're going against that Niner D-line, I think there's no question the San Francisco 49er D-line is, I don't want to say leaps and bounds better than the Chiefs D-line, because the Chiefs D-line with Frank Clark and Chris Jones, when healthy, can run amok with just about anybody. But they have a little bit more depth on the Niners, as you've seen them. They got the best defense, arguably, in the league. So if the Chiefs are going to win the game, they're going to have to outplay this Niner defense and figure out a way to score points other than Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? You're going to have to find a way to score on D, special teams, field goals. You're going to have to find other ways besides Mahomes' arms and legs, to win the Super Bowl, right? And especially if the Niners get pressure. If the Niners get pressure with DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead representing the O, University of Oregon, Oregon Ducks, all right? You got Nick Bosa, who's been amazing, throughout this whole season. They got a lot of depth there. Chris Jones and Frank Clark can play with those guys, but for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, we're going to have to need to see a very similar impact that the Niner D-line is going to have than the Chiefs D-line. You know what I mean? And that's big facts. If the Chiefs can make, Jimmy G's life a little miserable and make him throw the ball away, get some pressures, push him down, get a few sack lunches, yum, 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 yum. It's really going to be the key. Not necessarily maybe the Niners D that's elite versus Patrick Mahomes and that elite offense. Really what's going to win the Super Bowl is Jimmy G and the Niner offense versus the Chiefs defense with Frank Clark and Chris Jones and Honey Badger and the rest, right? That's really what it's going to come down to me. You know what I mean? They both got good field goal kickers. Butker, you got Gold. They both can kick from 30, 40, 50. Yeah, definitely I'm grinding, baby. I wanted to end up doing a video yesterday. I was going to do a Monday Night Raw live stream and discussion, but I just was feeling like shit. I've been taking medicine all day. I've been sweating. You know what I mean? I've probably got like 101, 2, 3 degree temperature. You know what I mean? But the grind doesn't stop. You know what I mean? When you're a YouTuber, especially someone as dedicated as me, you have dreams, you have goals. I can't let something just like a cold or flu hold me down no matter what. I got to keep moving on. I got to keep pressing on. And I got to make sure we put out the content because there's going to be a preview video, that we end up doing for the Super Bowl. I told Marcus I was feeling a little sick today. I think he wanted to come over today and do like a Kobe video, right? And I told him I'm feeling kind of sick if you want to come over and, do one quick video and then dip, but I think that he didn't want to take a chance of getting sick. So we'll maybe see Marcus tomorrow or the next day, depending on how I'm feeling. But besides that, if he doesn't come through, I'm still going to put out videos regardless if I'm sick or I'm not. But the D-line, I got to give the edge to the 49ers. But like I said, the Chiefs D-line has really been coming into their own, and I've been proud of what they've been doing, with Frank Clark and Chris Jones. Obviously, Chris Jones coming off the injury and what they're able to do. Now, the next one, a little bit more trickier. I want you to comment below. Whose linebacking core is better, the Chiefs or the 49ers? Fred Warner is one of those guys that is one of the most underrated linebackers in the entire league. No one really knows who he is unless you're a Niner fan or you're like me or you're one of you guys in the chat, a fanatic, and you guys watch the tape and you know who they are. He could be a real difference maker. Fred Warner for the San Francisco 49ers. And on the flip side, you got Quan Alexander coming back, decently healthy for the Chiefs. Comment below as a core, as a group. Whose group is better, the Niners or the Chiefs? And I want you to comment below, right, the starters, the names, the last names of each of the starters on the Chiefs and the Niners so the other people in the chat can see them. So we can kind of go over a breakdown on who we think is the better trio. Who's better, Niners or Chiefs linebacking core? Because that could be a real key on who ends up winning the Super Bowl. Them calling the right plays, right? Them getting pressure, them audibling at the right time, especially the Niners defense going against Mahomes. I mean, they're going to have a long day. Mahomes is just insane, right? So we don't really know what we're going to be able to get, out of the Chiefs defense when the Niners start pounding that rock. And we think we know what we're going to get out of the Niners defense. You're going to be able to slow Mahomes down for a little bit with that elite number one defense. But how long are you going to be able to hold them down? Right? We haven't really seen a whole lot of teams hold them down. I think what they lost to the Colts and the Texans back-to-back, right, when they were 6-2, I believe, and they went to 6-4, right? Here we go. Now I got some people participating in the chat right here. KC, Reggie Ragland, stud, right? Damian Wilson, Anthony Hitchens, very underrated. Hitchens is one of those guys, he'll knock the fuck out of you, won't he? You know what I mean? He's always one of those guys that's sideline to sideline. I know you don't got Justin Houston anymore, and Tom Ali and some of these other guys that you were really relying on defense, that has really, built that Chiefs defense for years and years and years. But Ragland and Hitchens are definitely underrated in my opinion. And I like Hitchens a lot because, like I said, he hits you hard. He'll decleat you. He's sideline to sideline. And it just seems like on almost every defensive play, he's there. He's always in the mix. He might not have the tackle or the sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. But he's a couple feet away. He's always around the ball, and I love that. All right, so can we flip it to the other side, and can we go with the 49ers? Any 49er fans in the building that can give me the 49ers trio? Or if there's anyone else, even a Chiefs fan or an NFL fan that ends up wanting to give me, besides Fred Warner and Quan Alexander. Who's the other one? Let them know. Reggie's a great run stopper. Agreed. See, KC linebacker is about to be bullied. You think so? 49ers. So we already got Fred Warner. We already know what kind of stud he is, right? Quan just came back, right? There you go, Greenlaw. I mean, just write him down. Let them know so they can see it in the chat so we can kind of go over a comparison there. But comment below, 49ers linebacking core. Look it up if you need to on NFL.com or ESPN. There we go. I knew someone was going to get to it. Fred Warner, Quan Alexander, Greenlaw. Thank you. I know I'm really sick. I'm really sick, man. I'm like you said, I wasn't able to finish the Royal Rumble, and I felt really shitty about it. You know what I mean? The Royal Rumble stream ended up getting almost 4,000 views. I know if I would have finished it, it probably would have ended up being 5,000 to 10,000 views. You know what I mean? I really wanted to end up finishing it. After I turned the stream off and went to the store to get medicine and eat dinner, I watched the rest of it. I watched Becky Lynch retain, and obviously I saw Drew McIntyre, end up getting the Royal Rumble, and advancing as the winner. But, still not feeling too good. But Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Quan, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that the linebacking core for the Niners, a little stronger, A little stronger than the Chiefs linebacking core, but Reggie Ragland, and like I said, Reggie Ragland, right? You can't sleep on a guy like him, right? But also, too, Anthony Hitchens. To me, he might be one of the most underrated players on the whole Chiefs team. Anthony Hitchens. It just seems like every time I see him, he's always making big plays. Salvador says Hitchens won't lock down Kittle. Well, no one can. No one can not lock down Kittle or Kelsey. I haven't been able to see anyone really lock him down all year. Honey Badger's their best bet. Buda Baker. I did. Yeah. So that's the linebacking core. So now I want us to move over to the corners or the secondary. We can break down corners or we can go safeties, but we can do secondary. So why don't we do that? Caverlog Jaguar, what to do? So who has the best secondary? Comment below the 49ers secondary, corners, right, and safeties. Free safety strong in both corners, right? And I want someone to comment below the Chiefs, corners, and safeties. So everyone in the chat can see, so we can go over this discussion. Who's got the better secondary? Yeah, we know Richard Sherman, the Shermanator, has been hot. Yeah, we know about Honey Badger doing his thing. Unfortunately, Juan Thornhill is out. And if he was there, that would be a big extra push for the Chiefs, having a player like Juan Thornhill. I watched this kid in college. I knew he was going to be a stud. It's one of those things that's like almost that extra advantage if he was still playing. But I'm excited to kind of see, what we're going to get out of the secondaries because it's a passing game now. And we already know Mahomes more than likely will throw for 3 touchdown passes, maybe more, right? And then with Garoppolo, you're probably looking at 1.5, average, 1 to 2. Right? If he ends up throwing for more than 2 touchdown passes, unless they're really short passes, like screen passes, I think people would be shocked. Right? They assume that the Niners are just going to pound the rock, and just don't let Jimmy turn the ball over, and then they'll rely on that defense to slow down Mahomes, get some sack lunches and some turnovers to win the game. Right? But we may see the opposite. We may see the Chiefs run the ball a lot more. We may see Garoppolo throw the ball a lot more. We're going to have to kind of wait and see. But I want you guys to comment below Chiefs secondary, the names, corners and safeties, as well as the 49ers, corners and safeties. Someone comment below so that the other people in the chat can see, so that way we can kind of do a visual comparison between the two teams. Because this group, the secondary, might be a little bit closer. I think a lot of people will say Niners, by far. Right, Niners by far, just based off, even though the names aren't as big after Richard Sherman, right? Richard Sherman, but what about the other 3, right? But then as far as the corners and safeties for the Chiefs, besides Honey Badger, name recognition might be a little bit more familiar with the Chiefs, right? But the Niners and their guys, they may not be the biggest names, but they really do play good football. And there's a reason why they got this far. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Samuel J., what to do? So if the Chiefs' O-line holds it together, they're going to take it all the way. That's the key to this whole shit. Break the Chiefs' O, the 49ers win. Yeah, and the thing is the game is going to be, a battle in the trenches, right? Because we saw Lenny D, what to do? Edge. Yeah, baby. Edge. Do you think you know me? Do you think you know me? Right? I'm horribly sick right now. I barely can talk. Got a big flu and cold, but your boy's still here because I miss you guys. I don't want to discuss some football with y'all, right? So as far as the offense, we already know Patrick Mahomes and that offense is legit. But when you saw the Niners play Green Bay, right, and you saw Aaron Rodgers, one of the most explosive quarterbacks of all time, he looks kind of average or below average at times when that 49er D is coming, and anyone would. So, this might be the first time where Patrick Mahomes, as great as he is with his arm, right, and as great as he is with his leg, they're going to have a spy on him, right, not like in the previous matchups, right, with the Titans, and who they played with, the other matchups. They're going to be on him, right? So, could Patrick Mahomes end up having a Patrick Mahomes kind of day and throw for 350, 3 touchdowns and no picks? Of course. But I see it maybe being a little bit closer, right? And with that defense and that running game of the Niners controlling the tempo, if they get sack lunches on Mahomes and they get pressures on him and put him on his back, you're not going to get that 350, 400-yard passing day, more than likely. That 3-touchdown day. It might end up being 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick, maybe 3 touchdowns, 1 pick and a strip sack, maybe a fumble. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to kind of see where it goes. There you go, Arsonius. I knew someone was going to do it. Tart, Ward, and Mosley. Very underrated. Everyone knows Richard Sherman, right? But not very many people know of Tart, Ward, and Mosley, right? not really a lot of people know, right? They've seen what they've done to get to this point, to the Super Bowl, right? But they're still not really getting the credit they really deserve, besides Richard Sherman, to me, right? And then for the Chiefs, I mean, if Juan Thornhill was there, that would have been a huge advantage. But besides Honey Badger, the corners have been getting a little bit better. At times, sometimes they get smoked, just like all corners do, right? But they can be a little bit more ballsy. They can gamble a little bit more, the Chiefs, with their defense, right? Because Jimmy G isn't going to be that guy that's going to be throwing these like 30, 40, 50-yard bombs. At least we don't assume that he's going to be doing that. We would assume that would be Patrick Mahomes. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of game we get. Is it going to be a slow, kind of pounded out ground game, and then Mahomes trying to, get them back, into, scoring position and getting closer and closer to win the game in the second half? Or is it going to be right out the gates, the Chiefs are onto a big lead and they never look back? I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, this is one of the more even Super Bowls that I've seen in a while. Even though the O-line for the Niners is better, in my opinion. The D-line for the Niners is better. The defense for the Niners is better. But we normally don't have a quarterback that can make such an impact like Patrick Mahomes that can kind of even out that playing field. Because normally, if you got the better O-line, you better D-line, right? Right, and the better defense, 9 times out of 10, I'm going with that team, the Niners. 9 times out of 10, period. Because that's what wins championships. O-line play, battle in the trenches. D-line play, getting pressure, sack lunches, pressures on the QB, and the overall defense, right? But Patrick Mahomes is like an anomaly. We've never seen anything like this guy before. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. And on the flip side, they got Chris Jones and Frank Clark, and these guys aren't no slouches either. They could get some sack lunches and, strip sacks and make, Jimmy G's life a living hell. And that's big facts too. So we'll have to see. And then as we go for kicker, Robbie Gould to me is a little bit more consistent than Butker. I still like both kickers a lot. I think both of them can, really win the game when the game is on the line. If the game is tied and it's like 3 seconds left and the kicker has to kick a 44-yarder to win, you know what I mean? But Robbie Gould to me is a little bit more consistent. He ain't no Justin Tucker, big trust, right? He ain't the best in the NFL or the best all time. But I think I got to give a little bit of the edge to the Niners kicking staff. And then overall special teams, who do you give the edge to there? You got McCole Hardman and Tyreek the Freak Hill, but with that speed, they have been dropping the football a little bit, and the Niners special team is coached up really well. So even though the speed factor for Tyreek the Freak Hill and McCole Hardman is better, and they get better field position 9 times out of 10, the coaching and the discipline for the special teams on the Niners is something that I feel that's very underrated. I don't think a lot of people are talking about special teams and what it could really mean on winning this game. It could be a real big factor on field position winning this game. So that's my 2 cents with it. So we got 49ers and Chiefs. Who has the better position groups going into Super Bowl 54, with your boy Ryan, one half of the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. And obviously we know with everything that happened in Royal Rumble, Kobe Bryant, his daughter, the other 7 people that passed away, rest in peace. We obviously have a lot of Super Bowl coverage, Kobe coverage, and then obviously we're trying to move on with NBA. We got right now the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, 36-28 Boston. That's on TNT, so that's in the background for me right now as well. But really, it's going to be the battle in the trenches. I mean, really, the key to me of winning the whole entire Super Bowl, the one key, Kansas City's O-line. I think that really is going to be the deciding factor in the whole entire game. You can talk about Niners defense, you can talk about Mahomes, you can talk about the running games, you can talk about Kyle Shanahan and his coaching, you can talk about Andy Reid being the OG, the triple OG, that vet. But to me, it's a Chiefs O-line. If the Chiefs O-line plays great, right, and they can contain and win the battle in the trenches somehow, some way over Armstead, right, Buckner, and Bosa, they're winning the Super Bowl, right? But if they end up fluttering and they get pressure on Mahomes, as great as Mahomes is, just depending on how much they get down by. I mean, we know 24-0, 24-0, 27-0, 28-0. Mahomes might be the only one on planet Earth that you think, okay, they can come back. They can dink and doink and get it from 28 to 7 to 28-14, 28-17, and they can just battle their way back. But I think with the Niners and the way that they're going to play the Chiefs with the ball control, they're really going to run the football a lot and test them to stop. Breida, Mostert, Coleman if he's able to play, and that's going to bleed a lot of the clock. So that's going to leave less time for Mahomes to do his magic. So for me, the Chiefs O-line is really the big key. If they play great, they win. If they don't, they lose, right? And it's going to be about time of possession, ball control, turnovers. But like I said, battle in the trenches. Typically, defense wins championships, right? But we haven't really seen defense wins championships against a guy named Patrick Mahomes, So I think because everyone is assuming Patrick Mahomes is going to have like 300-400 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns, right? I mean, I think everyone is assuming that, except maybe Niner fans, right? Everyone, I think, that's out there is just assuming that it's impossible for Patrick Mahomes to have a bad day or an average day of 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's impossible. People don't think that's going to happen, right? Everyone is thinking Mahomes is going to go off. It doesn't matter how great that Niner defense is. Eventually, he's going to pick them apart. It might take a couple quarters. It might take until the 3rd quarter or 4th quarter to really get going. They might even be down at halftime. The Niners might be up 17-10, right? 17-13. It's real possible. But I could literally see this game going either way. We might see 4 touchdowns and no picks, 300-400 yards, and Mahomes rides off into the sunset, as one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen, right? Or he could have a 2 touchdown, 2 picks kind of game, or 3 touchdowns, 2 picks kind of game, where they just fall a little short with the Niner defense and them pounding the rock with Mostert and Breida and Kyle Shanahan's play calling. So I'm excited to see where it goes. But like I said, I'm feeling really, really sick. My flu and cold it's really tough for me to talk. But like I said, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys a lot. So, I didn't do a video yesterday, but I've been doing videos, 1 to 3 videos almost every day for the last couple weeks, as if you guys noticed. Senior Bowl, I did all that. Pro Bowl, did that. Did a good chunk of Royal Rumble, about 2/3 of the Royal Rumble. And then it got pretty sick after that Royal Rumble, and I feel horrible. But life must go on. I got to keep grinding. So I'm probably going to end the stream now, just because my voice is just. I'm really sick. I'm going to have to probably take some more medicine and hop into bed. But I wanted to come and just kind of go over the position groups and what I think, what the keys are in Super Bowl 54. We will have a preview video that I'll do either solo by myself or with Marcus, hopefully with Marcus, maybe on Friday as we get a little bit closer, to the Super Bowl and going over some of the other keys. But I wanted to say hello, that I appreciate every single one of y'all that's in the chat. I love NFL. No matter how bad I'm feeling, I will do a Super Bowl live stream. So if you guys can join me for that, I'll be drinking, eating. I'll be doing that. And then, Marcus might be here. He might not. He might be just partying somewhere. But this channel means everything to me. So I'm not going to let an opportunity like a Super Bowl live stream just to be going and getting drunk or getting high somewhere, at a friend's house. So, but I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. 49ers or Chiefs, who has the better position groups going into Super Bowl 54 with your boy Ryan, one half of the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either here or through patreon.com/NWSF. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on our YouTube page. And if they let me do a reaction video to the Super Bowl after, I think me and Marcus did one, and then they blocked it. I mean, I know it was the Pats and the Rams, so there wasn't really a whole lot there anyways, but for whatever reason, the NFL was being stingy and they blocked it. So hopefully they don't block the reaction video after, so we can do that too. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe to do an AEW live stream. I know I get it West Coast time around 8 o'clock, where most of you guys in the East Coast have already seen it. But we can talk wrestling, we can talk NBA, Kobe, NFL, Niners, Chiefs, Super Bowl. So I'll probably try to do a video sometime tomorrow with Marcus if possible, if I'm feeling better. If not, then I'll end up being, doing a live stream sometime between 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I got one question for you. Who talks sports like us? Your boy Ryan, the Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out.